Hi, Coach Joe Lucas, and welcome to the Magellan Network Show. For nearly 30 years, I've been focused on helping advisors become the best both personally and professionally. This show is dedicated to sharing with you tools, tips, strategies, distinctions, things that are working now. I'd love for you to take a moment, and if you're watching this on YouTube, click the like button and also the subscribe button so you get automatic updates. And if you happen to be listening to us on a podcast, make sure you're subscribed to the podcast and you leave a positive review for us. Now, with that said, let's get to today's episode. Hi, it's your Coach Joe Lucas, and welcome to this episode of the Magellan Network Show. In this episode, we're going to finish our conversation. I know we took last week off because it was Thanksgiving in the United States. We want to finish our conversation today about mindset. Over the last several weeks, I've talked about, belief systems, values, internal dialogue, self-image, right? The four. Now we're going to talk about the fifth one, and in my experience is probably one of the most important one, if not the most important one, which is the 6 human needs. And this is something I learned from Tony Robbins. And so you can Google Tony Robbins 6 human needs and really get a crash course, if you will, inside of this. Last year, 2020, I spent 4 days in a leadership program, and we spent an entire day, 14 hours, on why these 6 human needs are so significant, not just to human beings, but to leaders and team members. Like, understanding needs and vehicles was one of the most powerful things you can do, and I'm not going to try to do it justice here inside of this 10 or 15 minute conversation. What I'd encourage you to do is just do the Google search, Tony Robbins 6 human needs, and do your own background. It's one of the most profound personal development experiences I've had in a very, very long time. So what I'm going to do is kind of walk you through my story. Before I do that, let me tell you what the 6 human needs are, okay? And by the way, everybody's going to have their own order, their own hierarchy. It's not about that. It's just kind of everybody's got their own recipe. In no particular order: significance, certainty, uncertainty, love and connection, growth and contribution. 6, right? Growth and contribution. So when you think about it, right, all of us are driven to meet our needs subconsciously. These are very powerful forces, right? So, for example, I used to have a hierarchy. So like my top 2 used to be significance and love and connection, right? And you would think about it on the outside saying, okay, well, that's not so bad, right? Significance, you want to be known, you want to feel important, right? Some people may equate that with being successful. And the reality is, where a lot of these human needs come from, or the hierarchy, really comes from how you brought up, how you grew up, right? So in my case, I grew up, in a household where I was not significant. I was not the way I viewed it. Now, again, I'm sure other people have a different way of looking at this, but my interpretation of my upbringing was not a lot of love, not a lot of connection, definitely not a lot of significance, right? So I was kind of the kid off in the corner doing his own thing. And so what happens as we mature is our brain is wired to seek what we are missing. So when I was growing up, I was missing love and connection and significance. So as an adult, what did I crave? What did I seek out? Significance and love and connection. Now, there's also vehicles, and again, I'm not going to try to explain all this. So I'm going to try to give you like a Cliff Notes version here. Vehicles are how you get it, right? So for example, significance. Let's just use some examples. How do people get significance today? Social media is a great example, or a terrible example. I guess it depends, right? So some people get significance by posting inspirational stories, positive things, so on and so forth. Other people get significance by how? Tearing other people down, right? So the vehicle, right, how you get there could be a positive one, like adding value, sharing recipes, being a resource to people, right? That's a positive vehicle. A negative vehicle would be, hey, you rip people up, on Facebook or Twitter or Instagram, whatever, and so on. You could be significant by donating a kidney. You can be significant by blowing up a building. So there's no real rules on significance. Do you have positive or negatives, right? Now, with love and connection for me, I was always seeking approval. So, I would always want to get that feedback. I'd want that piece, right? So it becomes a real challenge from time to time. What I realized, and this only recently, that having significance and love and connection, what's the one common theme they both require? Think about this. They require third parties. So in other words, for me to feel significant, I just can't say, oh, I'm significant. There has to be evidence, right? So either, people need to, respond to things, or, post or popular, right? Things like that. And same thing with, with love and connection. Like, I needed that approval from other people, right? So if you think about it, it's a horrible way to live. Here I am in my, mid-50s, and I finally figured this out. It's a horrible way to live because you're trying to appease people, trying to get noticed, trying to get approval of outsiders. It's a horrible way to live. Very stressful. You're never really truly happy. No matter what, you're never truly at peace. All right. So when I realized this, I said to myself, this is a very painful existence. I will never ever truly be happy, because I'm always going to be at the will of others. So I made a very conscious decision to say, you know what? My hierarchy does not serve me, right? So again, it was significance, love and connection, certainty, growth, contribution, uncertainty. By the way, I still hate uncertainty. So that hasn't changed. So I asked myself, I said, what would be the most powerful hierarchy of needs, And what I realized was growth and contribution. So growth, contribution, right? So growth, contribution, certainty. So certainty's still there, right? If you will. Uncertainty, love and connection, significance. Significant went from number 1 to now number 6. That's why I don't post a lot on Instagram or Facebook or LinkedIn. I've always been I've determined I'm a very private person. I'm an introvert naturally, which I think some of you probably find that to be, quite laughable considering what I do. But when you change your hierarchy, so hear me out on this. When you change your hierarchy of needs, your entire game can change. So think about what happened for me. Growth and contribution. Well, who controls those? Do I need third parties for growth? No, I can grow on my own. And by the way, growth, a lot of you are going to sit there and say, well, okay, that's economics. Well, that's a part of it. Don't get me wrong. It's definitely a part of it for me anyway. But it's also who I hang out with. So am I hanging with the right people? Do I have the right associations? Am I learning the right things? Am I pushing myself? Am I stretching myself? Am I looking to live that uncomfortable life, right? So that's growth for me. That's how I do it. Now, contribution, again, do I need somebody's approval? Do I need somebody's help? No. In fact, what I'm doing here right now, this conversation between you and I, meets my need to contribute. Hopefully, in what I do with these shows and these YouTube videos, podcasts, so on and so forth, is I look to add value to each and every one of you. I look to enrich your lives by hopefully a story, a distinction, some information. So it meets my needs to contribute this way, right? Going forward. And I'll just say this. When you discover your hierarchy of needs and you look at how they affect you personally and professionally, and then you make a decision to change. Now, the question is, how do you change them? Let's say you declare, hey, I don't like what I got, like I did. I can tell you how I did it. I wrote probably 2 paragraphs, maybe 3 paragraphs on everything it had cost me in my life up to this point, and everything it was going to cost me in my future if I did not change. And that was, I'll tell you, if you speak the truth, again, so the caveat here is you don't sugarcoat it. Okay, you don't. You have an honest conversation with yourself, no one else, just you. And you make a declaration to yourself, no one else, that, okay, it's going to change. It changes now, this in the moment. And then every morning, for about 90 days, I read what I wrote. I read what it was, what it cost me, what it would continue to cost me, and then I wrote what the new one was going to be. Again, growth and contribution. Fast forward to now to probably 3 years now. It's probably close to that, in 2.5, 3 years. And it has literally transformed my game, my coaching world, how I operate, who I am, who I associate with, how I look at things, what I bring to the table. And I wish this for all of you, is to have this opportunity to really elevate. See, here's the dirty little secret in our game. You can do as much practice management as you want. You can spend as much money as you want on marketing, branding, biz dev, lead programs, social media programs, coaches, consultants, all that jazz. But if you're not willing to look yourself in the mirror and say, this is not good enough, I must change, I must elevate, right? It's problematic. And I'll tell you what I run across. So that was my story. So let me give you another point of reference here. So what I found in incorporating this, we now incorporate this, the 6 human needs into our mindset work, which is part of our strategic planning process. What I found, a lot of advisors, so hear me out, this is very profound. They want to grow, but they need certainty too. Now, what's certainty? Being in control, not failing, predicting outcomes in advance, right? So, in other words, certainty, right? I don't like surprises. So, think of it this way. I want to grow my business. Foot on gas. Let's go, let's go, let's go. Certainty. Wait, we need to know more. What happens if it doesn't work? How about if they say no, right? So it's almost like you're trying to hit the gas and you're hitting the brake at the same time, and you're having this, just like any vehicle, right? You'd have this herky-jerky, you kind of move a little bit, but it's not pleasant, it's not comfortable. It's definitely not going to be sustainable. And that's just something we need to really be aware of. So I would encourage you to, number one, go back to the previous episodes if you missed any of these. Again, go over all the elements of mindset, from belief systems to values to internal dialogue to self-image, and now obviously we're doing this one here in human needs. I would definitely encourage you to explore human needs. Again, just Google 6 Human Needs, Tony Robbins. There's YouTube videos, there's articles, there's blog posts, there's a plethora of free information, and I would definitely encourage you to do that. And then the last thing I would encourage you to do is come spend some time with me inside of Magellan Network. You can have a seat for a couple of weeks on me. No gotchas. And let me help you finish up 2021 with power and momentum, right? And let's talk about a bigger, brighter, bolder 2022. So, hey, thanks for your time today. Thanks for listening and watching this episode of the Magellan Network Show. And I look forward to seeing you all again in about 7 days. Thank you for watching or listening to this episode of the Magellan Network Show. Hey, if any of this resonated with you, I invite you to come to MagellanNetwork.net, and we have a powerful group coaching community of like-minded advisors. Come in for a trial. You and I will have a one-on-one conversation. Let's see if I can help elevate your game, both personally and professionally.